Hey guys, welcome back to 358 Outdoors. I'm Matt and I'm really happy you decided to stop by today. Today's video we're going to talk about bullet selection. This is one area that I believe sometimes is often overlooked and not as much emphasis is put on it. We do spend a lot of time looking at cartridge selection and what platform, what rifle we're going to shoot it out of. And then, what's the best optic we're going to put on our rifle that's going to give us the best chance of success. And those things are all good. Don't get me wrong. But at the end of the day, it's the bullet that makes the connection with the animal that we are expecting to do the damage to kill that animal humanely. And if we do everything else right, but we select the wrong bullet for the job, that could lead to a frustrating experience for us as hunters and to what otherwise would have been a humane kill, quick kill, but rather not so much. And the animal we gotta think about too. So we're gonna get into it, and we're gonna basically break it down and try to make it as simple as possible because there are a lot of options out there for us, right? So how do you choose the best one? So anyways, let's get into it. Alright guys, so in this example we're hunting coyote and white-tailed deer with a 223 Remington. In the case of the coyote, it can certainly be taken with any big game bullet. But the challenge there is the coyote is a very small, lightweight animal. And it may not provide enough resistance to make your big game bullet open up and function as it should. Whereas a lightly constructed, say VMAX or Barnes varmint grenade, are designed to just penetrate that hide and then literally come apart, depositing all the energy within the vitals. Um, and that's great because those that want to keep the pelt, there's no big exit hole on the other side. Now, I wouldn't use the varmint bullet on the whitetail here because typically varmint bullets are driven by high velocity cartridges, and on a quartering two shot or quartering away shot, that varmint bullet is not strong enough to withstand the impact energy on denser muscle tissue, fat, heavier bones. That varmint bullet's not going to hold together to reach the vitals. On a broadside shot, you may get lucky and have the bullet split between two ribs, but I'm not going to count on that. I'm going to want to load something heavier, something that is going to withstand that high impact velocity. Something such as the Barnes TTSX, the Hornady CX, or the Nosler Partition. Those will clearly penetrate, regardless of the angle, and reach the vitals. And more importantly, exit the animal, leaving a good healthy blood trail for you if it takes off for any distance. So just an example of using a lightweight bullet on a lightweight animal and a heavier constructed bullet for a heavier animal. Alright, so now I'm going to take the 6.5 PRC out west to shoot a pronghorn antelope, then later in the year up to Alaska to go after the Yukon moose. In the case of the pronghorn, we have a lightly framed, thin-skinned animal that's built for speed. So I'm going to opt for a lighter weight traditional cup core bullet, something like the Hornady SST, the Sierra Game King, or the Nosler Ballistic Tip. Even though the velocity is high out of the muzzle with the 6.5 PRC, by the time it gets out to its target, 3, 4, 500 yards if I need to shoot that far, that projectile has slowed down enough so that it's certainly within the operating range of a standard traditional cup core bullet. Um, you need that bullet to continue to open up even at distance to spread the energy within the vitals. A tougher bullet such as Partition, Swift A-frame, or a Barnes, as it slows down and it doesn't encounter enough mass to get that bullet to open up and function, you're not going to be distributing that energy like a lighter weight traditional cup core. Now, in the event that you happen upon a pronghorn at close range and the impact velocity is high, it still is a very thin-skinned, lightweight animal, and I would expect a standard cup core bullet, even at close range, to get the job done on a pronghorn. Now, in case of the moose, totally different story. Obviously, a much larger animal, much heavier and denser muscle structure, heavier bones, a lot of fat. I would not want to rely on a lightweight standard traditional cup core bullet to get the job done, especially if, again, the animal's quartering to you or quartering away. Therefore, in this situation, I would rely heavily on a partition style bullet like the Swift A-frame or the Nosler partition, a bonded bullet like the Interbond by Hornady or the Nosler AccuBond, or a monolithic. Something that is going to withstand the closer shot, the higher impact velocity, and encounter that heavier, denser muscle tissue to get through to the vitals and again exit. So, anyway. Okay, so there's an actual funny story about this grizzly that's laying here. I had a friend of mine that had asked me to load up some ammo for a 7 mag as he was going on an elk hunt, and so I put up 160 grain Nosler AccuBonds for him. I did not hear from him right after the hunt, but later that year, sitting on the couch watching TV with my family, I get this text from my friend, and there's a picture of him standing next to this interior grizzly bear that he shot up in Alaska. Had I known he was going to go up there after his elk hunt to visit his brother and possibly shoot a grizzly, I would have loaded something different, something a little more stout, such as a Swift A-frame, partition, or one of your monolithics. Just in my mind's eye, I believe they'd offer better penetration. But as we can see, the Nosler AccuBond was certainly capable enough out of a 7 mag. The shot was right on the shoulder at about 120 yards, and the bear collapsed in its tracks. He did take a follow-up shot just in case, so he didn't regain his feet. But at the end of the day, that first shot anchored him, broke both shoulders, and exited. So kind of funny. But anyways, good job to him. But now as we look at the Cape Buffalo, Cape Buffalo are notorious for soaking up multiple hits from large caliber rifles. So you're going to need something tough. A-frame, a monolithic, a partition, generally speaking, as your first shot. And then as the animal is running away, typically at hard angles or dead away from you, shot followed up with a solid that's going to penetrate the animal from the tail to its chest. And solid will certainly do that for you. But again, this is just one of those examples of matching the proper bullet to the game. I know it sounds like a broken record, but it's important that we do our homework and really figure out what we need. So that allows us to successfully harvest the animal quickly and humanely, and then provide us with a successful hunt and a memorable hunt. Alright, so that was a few examples of matching your caliber and bullet style to the game that you're hunting. Obviously, every situation is a bit different, but keep in mind, if you're shooting a high intensity cartridge, a high velocity cartridge, and you're hunting closer ranges, you may want to go with something a little more stout. Whereas if you're shooting long distance with those same cartridges, a standard traditional cup core is probably going to work just fine. For those of you that are shooting the larger caliber, slower velocity, it doesn't quite matter as much. But if we're hunting bigger game, thicker game, we still may want to take a look at one of those premium options just to ensure we do get that penetration and that exit. Which leads me to the next point. In the videos to come, we're going to be talking about the age-old question on whether or not we want that bullet to exit, or do we want that bullet to remain in the animal, therefore depositing all of its energy in the animal. So that's going to be fun. And then we're going to get the 358 back out to the range, 300 yards, with a different load and see how that works. So I appreciate you being here at 358 Outdoors. Look forward to seeing you next time. God bless.